Okay, so let's take a look at the latitude and longitude on an actual map. Okay, this is our input page number 2, and what we're going to do here is we're going to label the equator, the prime meridian, and north, south, east, and west on the map below. Okay, so if you remember, the equator is a line that runs horizontally across your map, and the equator is always at 0 degrees latitude. And so notice that 0 is here and here, which means this line is one line of latitude. So I'm going to label this line because the equator is right on 0 degrees latitude. Okay, so I've done that. And now I'm going to find the prime meridian. The prime meridian is 0 degrees longitude. So remember, longitude lines run vertically or up and down. They are long lines. And it is at 0 degrees longitude. So this is where I'm going to write prime meridian. Now, the thing that throws students off all the time is where these numbers are located. Okay, so these are latitude lines. So I'm actually going to write that this is a latitude line right here. Okay, and you should do the same thing. And then for the prime meridian over here, I'm going to write that this is a longitude line. So these are my longitude lines. But what throws students off is the fact that for latitude lines, all of the numbers are over here and they're going up and down. So students tend to think, oh, up and down numbers, these are the longitude numbers. No, because this line is 0 and this latitude line is 30 and this latitude line is 60. That means that all of these numbers are my latitude. So I'm going to write latitude numbers over here so that I remember that these numbers are for latitude. And up here, I'm going to write that all of these numbers are longitude numbers. So that way I remember that all of these numbers are longitude numbers for these longitude lines, and all of these numbers over here are latitude numbers for these latitude lines. Okay. I'm also going to label north, south, east, and west on the map. Now, most people realize that this is north, south, this is east, and this is west. But when we're referring to this for a latitude and longitude, we label these directions north or south of the equator and east or west of the prime meridian. So on my map, over here to the right, I'm going to label these, if this is the equator, that means that all of these latitude numbers are south of the equator, and all of these latitude numbers are north of the equator. Same thing over here. I could label them over here too, north and south of this 0 degrees or equator line. So if I said what the latitude of point G was, I would say the latitude of point G is 30 degrees south. If I said the latitude of point F, I would say it's 60 degrees north. If I said the latitude of point C, I would say it's 0 degrees, period. There's no direction because it's directly in between north and south. And then for longitude, I'm going to label all of these numbers down here. I'm going to label them east of the prime meridian, because all of these are east of the prime meridian, and all of these numbers are west of the prime meridian. Remember, it spells we and not you, so I know I did it correctly. Okay, so that means point L is at 60 degrees west longitude. That means that point C is at 120 degrees east longitude, and it means that point A is at 0 degrees longitude. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is do a little bit of practice here. We have some practice at the bottom, so let's see how we do this. We're going to state the latitude and longitude of the following letters on the map. So find point G. You should find point G right here. And when we state the latitude, longitude, we literally state the latitude first and then the longitude. That's why they call them lat-long coordinates, because you always put latitude first. I remember that because A is before the O, right? The very next letter, la and lo, A goes first. So I'm going to state the latitude first. So if this is point G, which number is my latitude number? Is it 30 or is it 150? If you said 30, you were correct. 30 degrees, and because it's a number here on the side, I know that these are latitude numbers, right? So both of these are latitude numbers, and this is a latitude line. And it's south of the equator, so I'm going to say 30 degrees south. And then I'm going to put a comma, and I'm going to state what the longitude of point G is. The longitude of point G is 150 degrees, and it is east of the prime meridian, so I'm going to put an E at the end of it. And it's that simple. So pause the video here and go ahead and try points C, B, and I. Try those on your own, use a pencil, and then once you're done, after you're done, then you can come back and check the video. So go ahead and hit pause. Okay, so for point C, you should have seen that it was 0 degrees. There's no direction here because it's right on the equator latitude line. And then I would put a comma here. And then C is on 120 degrees east longitude. So I would say 120 degrees east longitude. 0 degrees are the only ones that don't have a direction associated with it. Okay. Point B, you should have found point B right here. Point B for latitude is on the 60 degree north latitude line, and it is right on the prime meridian, so I would put a comma and then 0 degrees. And for point I is a little tricky, because if you look, point I is right in the middle of two of these numbered ones for latitude. So we have to figure out, what would this be? Well, if this is 30 and this is 60, I want to go halfway in between. So if you aren't good with math, you could use your calculator, and I would say 60 minus 30 is 30, and then divide that by 2, and you get 15. So if you add 15 to 30, that will tell you what the halfway point is, and it's 45. So that means this is 45 degrees. So the latitude of point I is 45 degrees north of the equator, and the longitude, here's another halfway one. So you could do the same thing to try to figure out what's the difference between these two. 120 minus 90, that's 30, divided by 2, that's 15. So if you add 90 plus 15, you get 105. So 105 degrees, and this is west of the prime meridian. Okay. All right. So that's if I gave you a location and you have to tell me what the latitude and longitude coordinates are. Now the other option is that I might tell you what the latitude and longitude coordinates are, and you have to tell me where it is on the map. So let's try some of those. Here's 0 degrees and 0 degrees. So 0 degrees latitude, 0 degrees longitude. So find 0 degrees latitude right here. Find 0 degrees longitude, either the top or the bottom. Follow that down, follow this over, and you end up with point A. Okay? This is kind of like graphing, right? And then 60 degrees north is right here, 60 degrees north. Follow that over until you reach 180 degrees east. So which way's east? It's going to be on this side somewhere. So I have to find 180 degrees east, which is here. So follow 60 degrees north over, 180 degrees up. Sorry about that. So here's 60 degrees north, following that over, following 180 degrees up, and I end up with point F. So that should be point F. Then I look at 30 degrees south. Here's 30 degrees south, and followed over until I reach 30 degrees east. Where's 30 degrees east? Here's east, here's 30 degrees. So follow this one up, follow this one over until we reach, looks like it's point E. And then finally, 15 degrees south. Okay, so here's a halfway point, right? So if this is 0 and this is 30, halfway between those two is going to be 15. If you're not sure how I got that, I just said 30 divided by 2, and that gives me 15. I added 15 onto the 0. So here's 15 degrees south, and then I follow that over until I reach 60 degrees north. Nope, 60 degrees west. I'm doing this one down here. Okay, 60 degrees west. So 60 degrees west is here. There's west. Follow this over. Follow 60 degrees west up. And when I do that, I end up with point L. So then I come down here and I record point L. Okay. All right, so that's it for your latitude and longitude notes or your input page. You want to now attach this to your notebook. We've already attached, or you should have already attached, this input page number 1. Should go right there. And then what I suggest is flip that up, and then you can tape this page. It's not going to fit, so you're probably going to have to fold it. Take one piece of tape, tape the top right there, and then you can fold this up from the bottom just a little bit so it doesn't hang off the edge. And then if it's hanging off the edge over here like mine is, you can just fold that in like this. And then this will flip down right over top of it and hold everything in place for you. Okay? And so that is your latitude and longitude notes, your input pages for September 19th. And all of that should go on page 7. I hope that helps.